morning, viewers. We are at now Tawi Tales episode 54 और अभी 2 हफ्ते से अधिक के गैप के बाद मैं और डॉक्टर विकास we are again back to Tawi Tales and we are starting this interesting episode. So to begin with, I'll talk about there are officers and then there are institution builders. There are administrators and then there are nation shapers. आज तवी टेल्स में we have with us a civil servant whose journey is not merely a benchmark of excellence, but it's a benchmark of scholarship and statesmanship also. हर एग्जाम में जम्मू यूनिवर्सिटी के टॉप करना इनकी आदत रही है। 6 से अधिक गोल्ड मेडल इन्होंने अपनी पढ़ाई के दौरान पाए and he also got the prestigious President Dr. S. Radhakrishnan Gold Medal to represent India at global platform from Stockholm to Oxford. From serving as a Deputy Commissioner in Rajouri to becoming a Divisional Commissioner of Jammu Division, from shaping rural development and higher education policy in J&K to serving as a Joint Secretary, Ministry of Culture, Government of India. Sir, एक 1985 बैच के एक IAS ऑफिसर हैं, JK cadre with over 4 decades of leadership in governance and public policy. Sir, कई IAS और JKS ऑफिसर्स के मेंटर हैं. He is a scholar of governance, a published author and a poet. आज हम बात कर रहे हैं जो हमारे तवी टेल्स के एपिसोड 54 में है. We are talking about श्री प्रमोद कुमार जैन जी IAS रिटायर्ड जो हमारे बीच में हैं to share his life journey with us, with all of you on Tawi Tales episode 54. Sir, you are most welcome to Tawi Tales, which is Jammu's own channel. आपका सर बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. मैं और डॉक्टर विकास इस चैनल को जम्मू के जितने भी हम कहते हैं ज्वेल्स हैं, जितने भी हमारे ल्यूमिनरीज हैं जिनको हमने अभी तक कवर किया है, आज हमारा सौभाग्य है सर कि आपने अपना कीमती समय निकाला हमारे लिए. आप जम्मू में नहीं भी हैं बट जम्मू के बाहर भी रह के सर आपके दिल में जम्मू है और यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम सर. ओवर टू डॉक्टर विकास.
थैंक यू.
वेलकम सर टू योर ओन प्लेटफॉर्म, जम्मूज ओन प्लेटफॉर्म तवी टेल्स. सर आपका हार्दिक स्वागत है. सर आज हम आपकी लाइफ जर्नी और आपकी अचीवमेंट्स को सेलिब्रेट करेंगे. आज दुनिया जाने की कि श्री प्रमोद जैन जी के व्यक्तित्व के पीछे क्या व्यक्तित्व है और कैसे उनकी लाइफ जर्नी रही है. तो सर हम बिना कोई समय गवाए आपके बचपन से सर स्टार्ट करना चाहेंगे. सर जैसे अजय जी ने अपनी इंट्रोडक्शन में बताया कि आपने हर बोर्ड और यूनिवर्सिटी एग्जाम में टॉप किया सर. तो यू हैव बीन अ टॉपर और यू वर एन ओवरऑल यूनिवर्सिटी टॉपर इन 1978. तो सर अपने स्टूडेंट डेज में व्हाट वाज दैट यंग स्टूडेंट लाइक और व्हाट वैल्यूज शेप्ड यू एट दैट टाइम?
मुझे एक बात हमेशा याद आती है. मेरे पिताजी कहा करते थे, वर्क हार्ड देन एंजॉय. द फोकस वाज ऑन वर्क हार्ड. एक टीचर थे जिन्होंने कहा अगर तुम स्कूल का काम नहीं करते, होमवर्क नहीं करते तो तुम्हें सोने का अधिकार नहीं है. तो उस तरह की वैल्यूज थी बचपन में. मिडिल क्लास स्मॉल टाउन वैल्यूज, पुशिंग टुवर्ड्स हार्ड वर्क, पुशिंग टुवर्ड्स एक्सीलेंस, पुशिंग टुवर्ड्स अचीवमेंट.
बहुत बढ़िया सर.
वो सिस्टम था उस समय जम्मू में कि एक्सेल करना है, compete करना है, आगे निकलना है. एक जुनून होता था.
वेरी नाइस सर.
बहुत बढ़िया सर. और सर आपकी स्कूलिंग और कॉलेज सर उसके बारे में अगर आप दर्शकों को बताना चाहेंगे सर.
मैं जैन स्कूल में पढ़ा, क्लास 10 वहां से की. फिर राजपूत कॉलेज ऑफ कॉमर्स में गया, वहाँ बीकॉम किया. फिर हमें जुनून चढ़ा कि सिविल सर्विसेज करनी, IAS ऑफिसर बनना है. तो उन दिनों हिस्ट्री में कंपैरेटिवली ज़्यादा स्कोप था और ज़्यादा ये संभावना थी कि ज़्यादा मार्क्स उसमें आएंगे. तो हमने कहा चलो अब MA हिस्ट्री करते हैं. हालांकि नाउ आई रियलाइज इट वाज नॉट ए गुड डिसीजन फॉर वेरियस अदर रीजंस. नाउ MA किया, फिर उसके बाद हिस्ट्री के साथ और सोशियोलॉजी के साथ सिविल सर्विसेज का एग्जाम दिया. By God's grace, I got successful. तो JN के cadre भी मिला, फिर आगे बढ़ते गए.
नहीं
जो
सर,
जो समय मिला उसमें थोड़ा बहुत हम्बल कंट्रीब्यूशन करने की कोशिश की अपनी काबिलियत के अनुसार.
नहीं सर, आप हमारे लिए हमेशा से एक प्राइड रहे हैं, बिकॉज JNK में शायद जिस समय आपने सर IAS की होगी उस समय बहुत अधिक लोग सर JNK से शायद एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विसेज एट द सेंट्रल लेवल नहीं जाते होंगे सर. और उस समय शायद सर इतने एवेन्यूज भी नहीं होंगे जितने एवेन्यूज आज के बच्चों को मिलते हैं. आज की डेट में हर एक कोचिंग इज अवेलेबल. दिल्ली जाना भी बहुत आसान है. अ, उस समय सर आपने IAS क्लियर की, और ये हम सब के लिए बहुत एक गौरव की बात है सर कि इतने कम साधन होने के बाद भी, बिकॉज जम्मू में कौन सी कोचिंग सर शायद.
There's no institute in Jammu, no, not at all, nothing except that a little bit started in Jammu University, yes, but that wasn't of high quality at all that time. But then, if you have passion, if you have genuine motivation coming from inside, you can break all barriers.
राइट
So
सर.
that is, it's self journey. It's something which you start yourself, you do yourself, you achieve yourself, you travel yourself. All this by sheer self motivation and self perseverance. A little
दैट्स
bit of
रियली.
guidance here and yes.
सर एक जैसे कि आपकी लाइफ जर्नी को जब मैं और डॉक्टर विकास वी वर रीडिंग अबाउट यू एंड वी आर डूइंग ए बिट ऑफ रिसर्च. सर एक, आप हर जगह सर आपने टॉप किया है. सर वॉज एक्सीलेंस अ कॉन्शियस गोल, और इट सिंपली अ हैबिट फॉर्म्ड इन योर अर्ली लाइफ?
I'll tell you, there was a turning point in my life. I was a very, very naughty boy, and lots of stories is circulating in my family. Even now, my children tease me because my mother told them. There was a time I would hardly study, and I would come first. So in 1 year, I came fourth. I think that was in class 6. And the worst part was that 2 girls came ahead of me. And all the boys started teasing me. तुम इतने नालायक हो, लड़कियों से पिट गए. At that age, you're very conscious about these things. And if there's a nudge in the negative direction from a colleague, you feel upset. And I cried and wept. And then I said, no, nothing doing. I have to work harder and smarter. Then 1 year I came second. And then I said, all right, no, I got the clue and how to move and progress, and I must improve my own record. And then I ensured that I came first. The first challenge was because of the circumstances, you have to defeat the girls.
True, sir. True, sir. At that age, I think
Yes.
even the smallest thing, it looks like कि आपके लिए यही एक जिंदगी का ध्येय है, और सर आपने उसको अपना टर्निंग पॉइंट बनाया.
Absolutely, absolutely. And even for the IAS, when I was preparing, I remember, except for my parents and my sister, everybody was jabbing at me. अरे तेरे से कहाँ होना यार, बहुत मुश्किल है. तो अच्छा, अपना शौक है पूरा कर लो. That type of a thing. I said, all right, now if you think like this, then I'll tell you the material I am. And now I'm going to jolly well do it. I'm going to jolly well succeed. So that was how it is. It happens in many middle-class families. If you look around, you find that there are lots of leg pullers and very few genuine well-wishers.
Right.
And depends on if you take it towards the positive side and push yourself constantly.
राइट. सर एक जस्ट क्वाइट इंक्विजिटिवनेस. सर जिस टाइम पे आपने IAS क्लियर किया था, उस टाइम पे JNK cadre में कितने लोग होंगे IAS के अंदर?
See, the cadre means when we talk of the cadre, there are 2 types of people. One are the direct recruits who come through all India competition and come to the UPSC, right?
Right.
Where there's a remarkable amount of competition and success rate is very, very limited. And then second is the promotees. You have from the state service, JKAS. Earlier people would call it KAS. Then they get promoted. In JNK, they had 50% reservation. For the rest of the country, it used to be a 33% reservation. Earlier, it was 25% reservation. Anyway, whatever it is, So most of the people around those IAS officers in J&K, they were through the promotion channel rather than coming through the All India competitive exam, which is a different category and different level altogether. So those direct recruits, I would say there were only a few from J&K, 5, 6 at that time, 7. That's it.
It must be, sir, a great achievement of that time. And when your result came out, and it would be a celebration and personal achievement for you, sir.
Yes, you feel happy that you have done what you wanted to initially to start with, to begin your career. For me, it was a little more exciting because I was a full-time officer in State Bank of India.
Oh,
Yes. And I wasn't able to devote my full time to studies. So therefore, I would study either after office hours, during the weekends, study late at night, early mornings, etc., etc. So that was a little more difficulty, a bigger challenge for me. But then that is what life is.
true, sir.
That
And
is
sir,
what life is.
it's a new revelation for us, sir, that you used to work with State Bank of India, and it makes sir, much more achievement. The magnitude is so high because working along in a State Bank of India at that point in time, it was one of the best banks, and still it is one of the best banks, and
And
still
even now,
devote. Yeah,
is the largest, and if you believe me, I would say that one of the prime institutions in the country and one of the best institutions in the country. But then, again, if you give me a minute, I'll explain how it all happened.
please, sir.
The day I joined SBI, it was 82, sometime in December, probably 2nd December 82. And, we were supposed to go to Hyderabad at the staff college, State Bank Staff College for training. But that year, the chairman took a decision that before we are sent to the staff college for training, the batch would go to branches first, spend 1 month, then about 3 weeks, then come to the staff college so that they have a bit of an idea of what banking is all about and what actually happens in the branches. Now, my first branch where I went, those were the days of trade union activities. See, there's a lot of shortgull every day in the branches and people not behaving well with the manager and the seniors. And I was shocked. The clerical staff were behaving as if they are the bosses. And they were, top to bottom, everybody except the manager, the officer, they were misbehaving with the manager, not showing respect, not serving him. He would call for something, they would delay it. He will say, do this. They would say, lunch ke baad karenge. And I started realizing that, is this what SBI is? Because in the job market, SBI had a very, very high prestige. Even now it is. Then I started wondering, no, this is not the place where I can spend my 35 years of life. I must leave. The same day I decided I must leave. I made up my mind. That was another trigger. But then the option was that I must go back to the original thinking that I have to be a civil servant. I have to be an IAS officer. Then I started preparing more seriously. And then finally, yes, God was kind. I could make it.
Great, sir.
सर इससे ही जुड़ा प्रश्न मैं पूछना चाहूंगा कि आपकी जो एकेडमिक बैकग्राउंड रही सर वो कॉमर्स और हिस्ट्री थी, तो ये
Yeah.
सिविल सर्विस के इंस्पिरेशन सर कहाँ से मिली?
Oh, it started as early as at school. I had a teacher who had himself been trying for the civil services, could not succeed. He went up to the interview, but finally could not make it. That was one thing. In college, I had a great principal, GP Singh. He encouraged me. Sometimes, you may call it a luck factor, or you may call it whatever. Nature, God helps you. Directly, indirectly giving you a direction or pushing you in a particular field. Well, that is what happened. That is what happened. Really, I'm grateful to these great personalities. Jammu fortunately had, despite being a small town and with all limitations of a small place, it had some bright people, some very decent, committed people who would be kind to youngsters like me, who would be very supportive, who would be the guiding stars. I don't know how many teachers are like this now in Jammu.
No,
Great.
sir, but it's really great. And आपने प्रिंसिपल जो है उनका नाम बताया, and you have given you the credit to all of them for your success, sir. ये जम्मू के एक
I,
खासियत है जी.
that teacher, he is Mr. Jitendra Udampuri. He later became station director of All India Radio Jammu.
Right, sir.
So he was, you see, they're very inspiring personalities. And I can't forget how they have been shaping lives and improving lives. A lot of credit to them, a lot of gratitude.
दैट्स रियली ग्रेट सर. और क्योंकि सर काफ़ी बार जो अपने स्टूडेंट्स को या अपने पास्ट को लोग भूल जाते हैं, बट सर दिस इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ जम्मू, द डोगरास, द पीपल हु स्टेड हियर, दे ऑलवेज दे गिव द क्रेडिट टू द पीपल हु रियली मेड देम सर. एंड
You see,
आज 54th एपिसोड में भी सर सेम चीज़ जो है वो हमारे सामने आ रही है. यू आर सो हम्बल एंड ग्राउंडेड सर
जम्मू
अबाउट.
में एक एक दो चीजें मुझे बड़ी अच्छी लगती हैं. एक तो ये अपनापन है, अभी भी है.
जी.
वो जब आप जाते हैं, कहीं मिलते हैं, कई बार मैं निकल जाता हूँ बाजार में, इस दुकान पे वो खरीदना, इस दुकान पे वो खाना. तो लोग मिल जाते हैं पुराने, और पहचानते भी है और इज्जत भी करते हैं. वो अपनापन जो है ना, वो अभी तक भी बरकरार है. वो जम्मू की एक खास बात है.
राइट सर.
और वी शुड नॉट लेट डाई, वी शुड नॉट लेट इट रिड्यूस. जो इनहेरेंट स्वीटनेस है, इनहेरेंट इनोसेंस है हमारे लोगों की, वो बरकरार रहनी चाहिए. डिस्पाइट सो मेनी माइग्रेशंस व्हिच हैव टेकन प्लेस फ्रॉम this place, that place, here and there, and all over. The true Dogra spirit is still intact.
राइट सर.
Maybe in the old, wherever it is, yes, you feel, I feel very comfortable when I go to Moti Bazaar or Raghunath Bazaar or Kanak Mandi or something. I feel very comfortable.
Right, sir. Right, sir. And sir, really glad to know about a lot of things about you, sir. Now, sir, coming to your professional life a bit. So J&K is one of the toughest territory and a terrain, both if you see geographically and also we had a lot of instances specifically in the areas where you worked. Sir, as a Deputy Commissioner Rajouri, what was the biggest administrative challenge which you still, think that you faced, and what did that district, sir, teach you whenever you go to Rajouri? This question is primarily for, sir, the aspirants as well as the people who are still working in those districts and not from Jammu. So your experiences will be quite valuable for all of them, sir.
I was Deputy Commissioner of that district in 91, 92, 93. And that was the time when militancy was growing. And the challenge before us to ensure that militancy does not gain its feet in the border areas of Rajouri. That was what the governor had told us. The state was under the president's rule at that time. And the governor was very clear that this is primary and the most important mandate for the deputy commissioner and the entire district administration. And we've worked very, very hard for this to ensure. I'll not say that I get the credit, I should get the credit, or it's giant work. It's a lot of people working for it at the higher levels, at the lower levels, at my level also. We consciously ensured through our proactive work, building bridges with the people, doing a lot of touring, starting small works here and there for people's requirements, for their aspirations, for their needs. It could be through rural development, it could be through schools, through health department, outreach programs, a lot of activity with the help of BSF and Army, joint touring, inspections, taking people along, participatory development, all those things. Practically, my friends in the other parts of the country used to laugh jokingly, and they would say, oh, yes, by the time you finish 2 years, you would have shaken hands with all your male members of the district. So I was doing so much of touring. Almost every second day I was on the move. So that is the type of administration that was required. That is the type of a proactive and pro-people approach that was required. And I think to that extent, we have been fairly successful in Rajouri and Poonch. More in Rajouri.
Right.
Militant in ground, despite it being right on the line of control, very, very close to the line of control.
Right. सर, एनी एनी इंस्टेंस जो आपको लगता है कि हमेशा के लिए आपकी याद में any instance sir which you think if
One,
you were comfortable to discuss about it, sir?
see the reach of the government or reach of the civil administration has not been very great in the border areas. Let's be very honest. I remember with the local army brigadier and with the district SP, three of us, I led the team to one of the remotest places in the district, very close to the line of control. And the story we heard was that at one particular place nearby, people would cross over to the LOC, go to the other side, and get their makki roasted or makki ground because the buttermill was closer that side than this side, right? So I organized a village, gathering. Everybody was present, and we had a discussion. What is the problem? What to do? What are the aspirations? What can be done today? What can be done tomorrow from the administration? And I overheard that one fellow was talking to another fellow, and the second fellow was being referred to as DC. So I caught hold of that boy, and I asked him, DC तुम हो या मैं हूँ? और वो वहां से भाग गया. The moment I said this. And then I inquired, like a very inquisitive field officer. I inquired from various sources, what exactly is happening this? What is this nonsense going on? And this joke that some local boy, small little urchin, he must be in 20s or 30s, 20s. So I came to know कि साहब यहाँ तो कभी पटवारी भी नहीं आया है और डीसी साहब के आने की तो बात ही क्या है, कभी तहसीलदार साहब नहीं आए हैं. तो लोकल जो डिस्प्यूट्स होते हैं वो आर्मी वाले खुद ही उसको रिजॉल्व कर देते हैं ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कॉमन सेंस. और ये जो छोटा मोटा लड़का वड़का है तो ये खड़पैच बना हुआ है. तो इससे दो निष्कर्ष मैंने निकाले. एक तो मैंने अपने तहसीलदारों को और बाकी पुलिस अधिकारियों को उनको एनफोर्स किया कि वो टूरिंग करेंगे. गवर्नमेंट इंस्ट्रक्शंस थी, गवर्नमेंट ऑर्डर्स थे, लेकिन इंप्लीमेंट नहीं होते थे. You'll be surprised to know that there are government instructions that every field officer, deputy commissioner and below will do touring for minimum 10 days. No, touring for 12 days, including 10 night halts outside the headquarters within the district and tehsildar outside the headquarters within the tehsil. But implementation is the issue. तो हमने enforce कराया, लोगों को मोबाइल किया, एजाइल किया, जाएं, दौड़ें, देखें, मिलें लोगों से. राब्ता होना बहुत जरूरी है. मैं तो कन्विंस्ड हूं कि a lot of the law and order problems can be prevented, not fully. You have the international problem, you have the Pakistan factor, but to a lot of extent, the problems can be prevented if we are smarter, we are alert, we are running around, we are active, we know what is happening. We have a hand on the pulse of the people. Over the years, believe you me, the institutions have not been as smart and as active as anticipated. I'm not finding fault, but I'm telling you, robust institutions are necessary for strengthening the community and for having peace and order. The same I find here. Today I'm in Arunachal. I'm a type of an advisor to the chief minister. I'm chairman of the Administrative Reforms Commission. And when I move around quite a lot and meet lots and lots of people. You have the tribal instinct, you have the behavior issue, you have weak institutions, you have systems which are not very strong and active and certainly not conducive to modern progressive administration and service delivery. And I find lots of parallels between J&K and this place.
No, right, sir.
Building requires more attention. That was one message. And third message was that the army should do the army's work, civil administration should do the civil administration work. If there's a vacuum, somebody else will take over. You see, that's the natural human tendency. So it was an opportunity to put institutions in place and build a bigger institutional order.
True,
तो जो कुछ देखा वो किया, जो करने की जरूरत थी वो किया, जो समझा वो किया.
और सर सबसे बड़ी चीज ये सर आपने उन समय पे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स हेड की, स्पेसिफिकली द राजौरी, जिस टाइम पे ना मोबाइल कनेक्टिविटी थी और उस टाइम पे आई डोंट थिंक सो कि कितना ज्यादा, बिकॉज बैक टू द विलेजेस सर मेरे ख्याल से रीसेंट फिनोमिना है. बट उससे पहले आपने तो वैसे भी 10-12 दिन उनका अगर मूवमेंट पहले भी कर दी थी बैक टू वेयर दे हैव टू वर्क, उसने भी सर काफ़ी चीज़ें चेंज की होंगी उस समय पे। बट सर वाई लिसनिंग टू यू, बिना मोबाइल के बिना किसी कनेक्टिविटी के डिस्ट्रिक्ट को चलाना, और वो भी इस टफ कंडीशन पे जबकि मिलिटेंसी, इट वाज द एडवेंट ऑफ मिलिटेंसी एट दैट पॉइंट इन टाइम
या
इन दैट डिस्ट्रिक्ट।
बन पड़ी थी उन दिनों।
जी सर।
यस।
तो सर ये तो एक, इट्स अगेन, आई मस्ट से फ्रॉम माई सेल्फ एंड डॉक्टर विकास साइड, इट इज a pride for us to cover you today, sir.
No, no, very much, very sweet of you, very kind of you to give me credit. लेकिन कुछ अच्छी चीजें भी होती हैं गवर्नमेंट में ट्रेडिशनली। फॉर एग्जांपल हमारे पास वायरलेस होता है, गाड़ी में भी था, मेरे घर में भी था, एक वायरलेस ऑपरेटर होता है कम्युनिकेशन के लिए।
Right.
प्रशासन चलाने के लिए कम्युनिकेशन बहुत जरूरी है। मोबाइल्स नहीं थे, यहाँ तो लैंडलाइंस होती थी, हमारे पास हॉटलाइन भी थी, आर्मी की टेलीफोन एक्सचेंज का भी कनेक्शन था, तो वो था घर में भी ऑफिस में भी। लेकिन मोबाइल जब हम हो रहे हैं, जब ट्रेवल कर रहे हैं, उस वक्त वायरलेस बड़ा हैंडी होता था।
Right.
सो दैट वाज आवर मोड ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन।
Right. Right.
प्रमोद सर, आपने अपने करियर में सर फील्ड एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में भी काम किया और हाई लेवल पॉलिसी रोल्स भी निभाए सर। सर, व्हाट वाज मोर चैलेंजिंग फॉर यू? विच टेस्टेड यू मोर, द इमीडिएसी ऑफ फील्ड और द कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी ऑफ पॉलिसी मेकिंग? और आपको पर्सनली क्या पसंद है?
पर्सनली आई लाइक द फील्ड वर्क। जो उसमें चैलेंज है और उसमें इमीडिएटली आपको रिजल्ट्स देने हैं, और इमीडिएट रिजल्ट्स आते भी हैं अगर आपके इनिशिएटिव्स ठीक हों, आपकी इंटरवेंशंस ठीक हों, और इमीडिएट रिकॉग्निशन भी होती है। दैट इज फार मोर चैलेंजिंग एंड एक्साइटिंग। पॉलिसी में इसी इट्स लाइक यू आर ऑपरेटिंग इनकॉग्निटो, you are operating on file, you are operating through a cabinet decision, you are operating through consultation. But unless you do the field work, field assignments, you will not have the experience to do the policy. वो भी है। So both are interconnected. In fact, हमारी सर्विस में तो ये जरूरी है कि पहले 8-10 साल बिल्कुल फील्ड में रहना है, और वो एक्सपीरियंस आप सेक्रेटेरिएट में लेके जाइए। Then only you can do good policy work. नहीं तो मालूम ही नहीं होगा। आप पॉलिसी कुछ प्लान कर रहे हैं, कुछ करवा रहे हैं, नए इंटरवेंशन ले रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट की ओर से, और उसका इफेक्ट फील्ड में क्या होगा आपको मालूम ही नहीं, अंदाजा नहीं होगा। वो पॉलिसी चलेगी कि नहीं चलेगी उसका अंदाजा नहीं होगा। तो both are absolutely necessary, and as you rise you will be contribute more towards policy. It's like saying, a manager becomes a leader.
Right.
So leader is generally behind the scenes. It's the manager who is generally visible on the work floor, not the leader, not the MD, not the chairman. Certainly not the members of the board of director. You see, there's a difference. So, but the job of the manager is exciting. If you're on the work floor, you move up and down and get work done. You implement your instructions. That's more exciting. That's what I think it is. I found that was more exciting.
Right. So now coming to your next role, which was, I think, the divisional commissioner role. In between, there might be few roles, but from the deputy commissioner Rajouri, I am moving to your divisional commissioner role to Jammu division. So what were your priorities at that point in time, and what reforms or activities, sir, which you had done during that period, which still make you proud of your work, sir?
I don't recall great reforms, frankly speaking. Running the show itself is an achievement. Running the show itself was a big challenge. That is the first thing. As the principal government representative for the entire division, for 10 districts, to keep going, that is the first challenge. Then if you add something onto it, that is additional credit. I remember during my time, Amarnath Yatra was given a good foundation and proper shape. Yatri Niwas in Bhagwati Nagar, that was designed and done during my time. There were lots of initiatives taken for the Vaishno Devi Shrine, including security arrangements, streamlining, where I also had a lot of role to play. Day-to-day challenges keep coming, day-to-day problems in districts here. I think there was a massive problem on the national highway, and we had to airlift people from Jammu to Srinagar. The national highway was closed for 6-7 days. So Air Force choppers were requisitioned, essentials were sent, people were sent. All those things were coordinated and organized. That itself is a very massive exercise. The chief minister of the time gave my mobile number on the television. And then I started getting messages, hundreds and hundreds of them. And I still remember one funny, some student from Kashmir who was in Delhi studying. And he says, sir, मैं by train आ रहा हूँ, कल सुबह पहुँचूंगा, मेरे लिए एक helicopter seat रख देना. As if he was coming for a joyride. Then I told the Honorable Chief Minister next day, we must fix some basic minimum of the fare, maybe 10% of the total cost, so that people have a stake and they don't think it's a free ride. And only the genuine cases are tackled, not everybody.
Right.
So which I think was done later, next year. So इस तरह की बड़ी सारी चीजें हैं. Coordination with the Army, coordination with the Air Force, organizing events like Republic Day and Independence Day. They take a lot of time. Then energizing institutions, you see. The main leadership role is energizing institutions. Institutions strong होंगी, better होंगी, self-propelling होंगी, तो administration बेहतर चलेगी. और डेमोक्रेसी अच्छी रन करेगी. उससे भी ज्यादा मैं समझता हूँ मेरा रोल था एज चीफ इलेक्टोरल ऑफिसर. That was far more challenging, far more difficult. That was before I became the divisional commissioner. In fact, that was recognized at the international level, and there's an institution in Stockholm. They called me for a lecture to share my experiences, and they sort of looked upon me as an expert in organizing elections in conflict situations, जिसके ऊपर वो रिसर्च कर रहे थे. तो है ठीक, अपॉर्चुनिटीज भी आती हैं चैलेंजेस के साथ साथ.
Really great, sir. Dr. Vikas.
सर, आपने इसके बाद सर यू सर्व्ड एज जॉइंट सेक्रेटरी इन द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर. तो सर वो रोल भी आपने निभाया. तो सर, अकॉर्डिंग टू यू, हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इज कल्चरल डिप्लोमेसी इन शेपिंग इंडियाज ग्लोबल नैरेटिव?
Very important. Very important. You have the Prime Minister of a Central Asian country who sings songs from the Rajpur pictures. And that happens because of the cultural diplomacy. You have a lot of Tagore being talked about in Western countries in East Europe. That's because of the cultural diplomacy. You have music, you have song, dance, you have yoga, you have Hindi, you have Bollywood, of course. You have the Indian influences in the West, food, Indian cuisine. Everywhere now you can get the Indian cuisine, Indian curries. In the Western countries, in UK, US, I found people are so fond of the Indian curries. And lots of Indian restaurants, even though they are run by not just by Indians, also by people of other nationalities. So cultural diplomacy is what ensures the success of the hardcore diplomacy in terms of geopolitics, in terms of trade, in terms of defense deals, defense arrangements, security, and so on and so forth. So culture is a binding factor. Is more difficult, but it's the soft power which sustains for a longer time.
Right.
Great.
And so is it very difficult to, go for this, soft tactics for all these things, sir? Or it's as difficult as going for the bigger and difficult things which we generally see, which is done overtly, because culture is covertly, because you enter into any of the areas without making a lot of noise and sound. It's visible later. So which one is much more difficult, sir, as per you?
I think it's the soft power which is more difficult, because it has to be done on a very long and sustained basis. And you have to do it not just at the government level, also at the level of the people. People-to-people contacts, through tourism, through indirect messaging on culture, connect with civilization, connect with what will you say, various aspects of life and living and how we relate to one another, historical connections being traced and this and that, all those things. I remember during the Prime Minister's one visit to a Southeast Asian country, he mentioned how a princess from Ayodhya had gone to that country, probably Cambodia, and married a there.
Korea, sir. Korea.
Korea, yes,
Yes.
Korea. So that's the history and culture traveling. You go to Bali and you find that there is more of Hinduism there than you find on the Indian streets. From airport, when you come to your hotel, you find that there are statues and statues and statues of Ram, Sita, Hanuman, and everything.
Quite right, sir. Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
influence. That is a cultural influence, and it's been going on for centuries, and it's lingering.
Right. No, sir, very, very interesting because one video is taking around on social media is about Shivratri celebration in Java's temple by Ambassador of Indonesia. So that is after 600 years, that temple is now in active stage, and now Indonesian government is also helping India to restore those temples to the lost glory. There are a cluster of 120 temples. So, sir, you are quite right. So, thanks for sharing your experiences while you were in Ministry of Culture. Sir, you have
There's
yeah.
such instances. There's a temple in Indonesia, I think again near Java, Prambanan, where
Yes.
Ramayana is done by the Muslim characters. It's a Muslim country, but
Right.
when you ask them, they will say it's a part of our culture. I met a Bangladeshi lady, diplomat, in one of the parties in Delhi when I was working there. She was wearing a sari and she was wearing a bindi. And I asked her, "Are you a Hindu from Bangladesh?" She said, "No, I'm a Muslim." I said, "You're wearing a sari and you're wearing a bindi." She said, "It's a part of our culture."
Right.
So that is how culture travels and stays on. And that is a real soft power. If you can manage it, nothing like it. It lingers for years and centuries, years, decades, and centuries.
Right. Right, sir. Uh, sir, now coming to sir, you represented India internationally and you trained across continents because we were going through your profile, sir. How did global exposure refine your leadership philosophy?
It does tremendously. One is consciously, second is unconsciously, and third is when you are taught something and you have exposure and you deal with your friends from other parts of the world. I find two things. One is that in the West there is a very high degree of stress, emphasis on planning before you start a project. In our country, we start then आगे साथ में चलता रहेगा, करते रहेंगे, कोई बात नहीं, चलो. We presume that it is easy, but it's not. If they have to construct a house, for example, they'll spend 6 months on the drawings. बाथरूम कहाँ होगा, किचन कहाँ होगी, वहाँ पे क्या लगाना है, वहाँ पे कौन सी फिटिंग होगी, पेंटिंग्स कितनी लगानी है, पेंटिंग्स के ऊपर कौन सी लाइट्स होगी, माइनर डिटेल्स, माइन्यूट डिटेल्स. हमारे यहाँ आर्किटेक्ट को पूछो, वो भी कहेगा कि प्लीज परेशान नहीं करिए, बाद में देख लेंगे. So the micro planning there is a part of the main planning. हमारे यहाँ इतना emphasis नहीं है, एक वो बात है. दूसरा, they keep reviewing and monitoring and evaluating constantly. यहाँ ये कमी रहेगी, इसको चेंज कर दो, यहाँ ये कमी है, दिस इज अ लेसन, इसको इंप्रूव कर दो, ये है स्पेशलिस्ट को पकड़िए, ये है सुपर स्पेशलिस्ट को पकड़िए. तो उस तरह की बड़ी अप्रोच है. तीसरा मैं देखता हूँ कि लोअर लेवल पे एफिशिएंसी और प्रोडक्टिविटी बड़ी ज्यादा है. हमारे यहाँ नहीं है. हमारे यहाँ क्लरिक, मैं कई बार कहता भी हूँ, लोगों को शायद बुरा भी लगता होगा, 80% ऑफ द पीपल कंट्रीब्यूट 20% प्रोडक्टिविटी. मैं यहाँ पे भी देखता हूँ, अरुणाचल में वही प्रॉब्लम है, हमारे से ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम है यहाँ पे. यहाँ पे वो असम में कहते हैं लाहे लाहे, मतलब गो स्लो, आराम से करो. यहाँ अरुणाचल में कहते हैं खुशी खुशी, जब मन होगा तो करना. हमारे नॉर्थ इंडिया में कहते हैं चलता है चलता है. No, in the West, it's entirely different. They're very, very serious, and everything has to be done on time. Otherwise, it loses relevance, and everything has to be done at the lowest possible rung of the hierarchy. The work of the clerk will not be done by an assistant manager or an officer, or the work of an officer will not be done by a senior officer, and like that. So, but they have built up the capacities. Their emphasis on capacity building and trainings and mentoring and retraining and retraining, that is very, very high. अब हम कर रहे हैं, हमारे यहाँ पे भी ट्रेनिंग फॉर ऑल की बात होती है, top to bottom, everybody should be trained and everybody should be trained again. So the injection of training has to be given again and again, so that the entire ecosystem remains charged and is able to perform collectively as a matter of conscious decision based on training, as taught, as mentored. You see? So those are the new areas of leadership development and management and public administration. Those things are better in the West. We are learning, we are progressing. The good thing is that we are progressing fast.
Right.
We are learning fast and progressing fast, not just in economy, but also in other aspects of life, in administration, for example.
Right.
Can you imagine, for example, that half of my meetings I am doing, even in Arunachal Pradesh, half of my meetings I am doing on the video conferencing. Because here the distances are very large. From the state capital to one district would be normally 200 kilometers, 150 kilometers, 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers. It's a very large state, which we don't realize in Jammu. If you look at the map, you'll find it's the largest in the northeast. It's larger in area than Assam. Did you know this?
No.
Frankly speaking, I didn't know this. So lots of new things are happening in the government. Can you imagine, even in a place like Itanagar, which is a small town, 50,000 population, they have an annual film festival, annual literature festival, annual music festival, annual all these things. Unimaginable. You don't have these in Jammu.
Yeah.
No.
So lots of new things are happening in the country, of which we should be proud. Somehow the media does not cover them appropriately. But
Yes.
I'm sure so many new things are happening in Jammu also, which are not being covered.
Oh.
So we just have to look around and find.
No, right, sir. So you have touched a very, very important point, and I'll just discuss with you on this aspect. So you are saying it's a small town and a lot of things are happening, film festival, literary festival, and all. Sir, where Jammu is lacking, whether is it a matter of planning or it's a matter of intent? Because if Itanagar is doing it, we too have, a good brain. Economically, we are not. I can't say that we are worse off. We are good. Thanks to Mata Vaishno Devi, we have a good flow of tourists who strengthen our economy so much. So where we are lacking intent or it's something else, sir?
I'll not say intent. I'll say it's slightly casual approach. Chalta hai. All right. फिर क्या है? We got to pick up on these things. More of art, more of culture, more of literature, more of the finer things of life, more of sports. Again, there's a lot of talent and potential. There's no shortage of talent.
Right.
But some ecosystem has to be generated. People must come forward instead of whiling away time on chit chat and gossip, or on food and kaladi and kulcha. We should move beyond that.
No, truly words of wisdom, sir. And I think, sir, under your mentorship, I think you can bring the best practices which are used in Arunachal to do all these things and how to get away, specifically youth, from all these things which they are wasting their time and start working towards more productive things. So your mentorship will really, really quite helpful for organizing such things in Jammu also, sir, as you have seen and you have observed in Arunachal. Yeah, Dr. Vikas.
Sir, with over 40 years in governance, sir, how do you define ethical leadership in today's administrative ecosystem?
I don't know. First, you have to have a consensus on what is ethics and what is ethical leadership. I would personally say that everyone must decide his or her own Lakshman Rekha. There are lots of laws, there are lots of issues connected with performance, efficiency, contribution, trust, and issues connected with ethics, integrity, corruption, and so on and so forth. Laws are not sufficient. People's movements are important. जहाँ जहाँ है वहाँ पे better results हैं, जहाँ नहीं है वहाँ अच्छे results नहीं हैं. But we should also not land up in a situation where everybody is lax and everybody is losing ethics. That is the worst thing that can happen in a developing country. So we have to guard against that. That's why there is emphasis on transparency, emphasis on digital economy, direct benefit transfer, things like that. Inclusive governance, direct contact with the public. So I'm sure those things have been designed only because ethics are important and integrity is important within ethics. And people's welfare should not be diluted simply because somebody is, fiddling with the rules or fiddling with the processes.
Yes.
So to that extent, ethical leadership, yes, it will always remain important everywhere in the world. Even in the United States, look at what is happening.
Right.
People have even jokingly started saying the US is there in the New York Times. I saw one article recently. Is the US moving towards a dictatorship?
True.
So that's the ethics of statesmanship or the ethics of politics or whatever. Those are the issues.
Right, sir. Now, sir, coming to one very, very important aspect. We all know Jain sir as a very, very strict policy maker, as a great administrator. But something we were not aware of, which is your flair for poetry. Sir, Lockdown and other poems which you have written. सर ये शौक पहले से था सर फ्रॉम योर जैन स्कूल डेज और ये लॉकडाउन के दौरान सर बहुत सारे जैसे मैंने लिखना शुरू किया लॉकडाउन में डॉक्टर विकास ने थोड़ा बेटर किया अपनी सिंगिंग को लॉकडाउन में तो सर ये पहले से ही था या बाद में सर एक्टिव हुआ एंड ऑल्सो सर हाउ डू गवर्नेंस एंड पोइट्री को एग्जिस्ट विद इन यू बिकॉज पॉलिसी मेकिंग इज अ वेरी वेरी it's very dry. I personally, I say,
Yes.
work on data, and here it's a creativity. Ji, sir.
You have to switch on and switch off. That's a thumb rule.
Right.
And you have to apportion your time. You must decide clearly and very strongly that look here, today is Sunday. I'm not going to do any office work unless there's an emergency, and I'm called for. So at least one day you can spare. So that type of a ruthless approach, even on your own work and style and time, you have to. But, well, you'll be surprised. Poetry is in my genes. My father was a very good Punjabi poet.
Oh.
And sometimes I would accompany him to musharas, Kavi Darbar. And I used to wonder as a small child whether one day I can also do this. And then when I went to college, teachers encouraged. We had a great set of college lecturers and professors. They encouraged. My first poem came in some of the local papers, then in the college magazine. Then they would encourage me, edit, refine, give ideas, push me in that direction. And it went on. Even while I was in active service, I would occasionally write, but not very much. During COVID, that was a great opportunity. I had just retired. And COVID meant either I would waste my time or I would do something creative. So I chose this. And this poetry collection was published later. I was in Ladakh, and there it was very tough working during winter. And late at night, I would get up. That's a part of the sleep cycle which gets hit because of the extreme low temperatures. Then instead of wasting my time, I would write. And then my collection of poems on Ladakh, now it is getting edited. Today only I gave it to a local person in Itanagar for editing, second editing. It's got delayed because I wanted every poem to have a sketch. Now the sketches are ready. There are more than 50 poems and more than 50 sketches. So one poem, one sketch. So hopefully this will be out this year. Then another two books I'm working on. Maybe if not this year, maybe next year, they'll be out. So you can think of four collections in all.
So we look forward कि जो पोइट्री की बुक है सर वो जम्मू में लॉन्च हो, ना कि ईटानगर will get this
They,
benefit again.
well, my friends in Ladakh say it should be launched in Leh.
So no worries, sir, if it's Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh UT, no issue, sir. But it should be here in your own place where you were born and where you have started writing, sir.
Hopefully, yes. Or in Delhi, you have the Sahitya Akademi headquarters. In fact, that reminds me, you've done some creative work during COVID, and Dr. Vikas has done some creative work during COVID. A lot of good literature was written during the COVID period. A lot of cultural activity took place in the COVID period. Compositions, because people were free and they were relaxed, and they used this opportunity for this purpose.
Right. So it's
बिल्कुल सर, और सबसे
opportunity from
बड़ी
adversity.
बिल्कुल, और सबसे बड़ी जो सर हमें लगती है कि जो तवी टेल्स का ये जो ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म है, दैट वाज इंस्पायर्ड फ्रॉम कोविड, कि इतना ज्यादा जो जूम का एप्लीकेशन का यूज और उसके थ्रू प्रोग्राम्स रिकॉर्ड करना, आई थिंक ये भी एक कोविड की ही देन है. अगर कोविड नहीं
Absolutely.
होता तो शायद ये चीज ना होती.
Quite. I totally agree. Yes. There are always good lessons to learn from adversity. And this is one. And we are carrying on with this. A lot of time is saved, a lot of money is saved, a lot of hassle is saved. You are online, you can do a lot of work.
वही ना सर, नहीं तो आप ही का पॉडकास्ट करना होता तो आपका वेट करते हम ईटानगर से, कब जम्मू आएंगे सर, फिर कब टाइम मिलेगा. तो थैंक्स टू कोविड कि हमें टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज करना सिखाया उन्होंने, एंड वी आर डूइंग दिस. तो वही है कि एडवर्सिटी टीचेस लॉट ऑफ गुड थिंग्स आल्सो. सर फाइनली सर, फॉर यंग सिविल सर्विस एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए सर जो आज तैयारी कर रहे हैं, सर व्हाट शुड बी देयर माइंडसेट, एंड इफ सिविल सर्विसेज के बारे में सर उनका, इज सिविल सर्विसेज स्टिल अबाउट पावर और अबाउट पर्पस?
No, it's not about power. Power is getting reduced. Let's be very honest and clear. With more and more democracy, you have Panchayati Raj institutions, you have more enlightened politicians, you have ministers who are more knowledgeable, educated people, Power or authority is less important. Purpose is more important. The end result and delivery is more important. Contribution, society building, nation building are back in focus. They are far more important. And that has to be the focus. You see, you enjoy. Even now, I have very bright people working in my organization on contractual basis. And as research associates, as interns, and this and that, they're assisting me. So I can see the glitter in their eyes when I give them some idea and build up on this and ask them to build up on this. And they are the younger people, and they are the ones who will be in civil services tomorrow. Some of them I can see the spark, and they are aspiring also. The first thing is the focus has to be on not on authority and not on fun, not on enjoyment, not on bossing around, but it has to be on what we can do for the country and for the society, number one. Number two, focus has to be on learning and doing. And number three, it has to be not just the glitter, but it has to be a very high degree of hard work, using technology, using new methods of work, using knowledge based on experience and exposure, what other countries are doing, why we can't do it here. If they can do it, we can do it better, we can do it smarter. Why not? We are a smarter set of people, one-to-one. And that passion is required for each one of the civil servants. And I'm sure many of them do have, and I meet the younger people, one feels very happy and confident. They're clear, they're working harder, smarter, better, giving results, doing lots of experiments also, how things can be improved. And there are lots of success stories. I'm sure they're aware, but they have to be guided, they have to be ensured from derailing, and they have to be brought back on the rails again and again. That is what mentoring is all about. That is what training and leadership is all about. I'm sure these three things will help the aspirants as well as the officers.
Nice.
Sir, with this, we are about to finish our podcast. And sir, ये हमारा podcast sir वैसे भी 54th है, and we have taken a around 20-day break in between because January actually we started and continuously every week. So we thought कहीं ना कहीं अब ये होना शुरू हो गया कि we are not able to see what we have to present, so we have to take a break, and we are quite lucky, sir. Break के बाद we found you, sir, and you have graciously spent so much time with us, and you consented to be part of episode 54. Sir, आपके life lessons very very important for us as well as our viewers. Hard work, excellence, एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड क्रिएटिविटी। सर, इन सभी चीज़ों को लेकर सर जिस तरीके से you have done, you have covered your journey while you were in service and post service also, instead of sir just sitting in your drawing room and reading novels or discussing about international relations, you decided to still work and still making Arunachal Pradesh a better place to live. While we expect, sir, you should come back to your own state and our UT should start taking lot of benefits from your vast wisdom, क्योंकि सर इतनी दूर हैं आप और कई चीज़ें सिखाने के लिए यहाँ पे आप जैसे मेंटोर्स की ज़रूरत है। एंड सर, एक तवी टेल्स का एक रिचुअल है विच आई विल पास ऑन टू डॉक्टर विकास। ये तवी टेल्स को बहुत अच्छे रिचुअल के साथ एंड करते हैं सर। एंड वंस अगेन सर, थैंक्स फॉर स्पेयरिंग योर वैल्यूबल टाइम विद अस फॉर तवी टेल्स फॉर योर ओन जम्मू, डॉक्टर विकास।
Very much. Thank you.
प्रमोद जैन सर, दिल की गहराइयों से मैं पूरी तवी टेल्स टीम की ओर से आपका धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं। सर, आपकी लाइफ सर प्रूव करती है कि मेरिट एंड हार्ड वर्क सर इट कैन टच द हाइट्स, अनइमेजिनेबल हाइट्स। और आपने प्रूव करके दिखाया कि जो इंसान टॉपर रहा सारी उम्र, स्टूडेंट लाइफ से लेके नाउ स्टिल आफ्टर रिटायरमेंट यू आर होल्डिंग दैट पोजीशन, तो इट्स नॉट इम्पॉसिबल थिंग। और उसके लिए इनफैक्ट डेडिकेशन, हार्डवर्क चाहिए और एथिक्स चाहिए सर, जैसे आपने बात की। सर, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद अपने लाइफ एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर करने के लिए हमारे प्लेटफॉर्म पे। और हमारे जो यंगस्टर्स हैं, जो एस्पिरेंट्स हैं सिविल सर्विसेज के, उनको सर मोटिवेट करने के लिए आपका आज का जो एपिसोड है, ये जो लोग सिविल सर्विसेज में आना चाहते हैं उनके लिए बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एक माइलस्टोन एपिसोड रहेगा और ये एपिसोड उनको इंस्पायर करेगा। सर, वी थैंक यू and for showing that scholarship and administration can work together, that leadership is not noise, the authority is not about position, it is about responsibility. Sir, you are not merely a retired IAS officer, you are a living chapter in the governance history of Jammu and Kashmir, and we all Jammuites, Dogras are proud of you, sir, and you are a proud Dogra. आज आपने सर उसकी झलक हमें मिली, द हम्बलनेस, और आपने जो एक्नॉलेज किया कि द पीपल बिहाइंड योर सक्सेस, सर ये डोगरास का ट्रेट है एंड यू आर सो हम्बल। बिफोर इंटरेक्टिंग विद यू हम भी सोच रहे थे कि वी आर गोइंग टू इंटरेक्ट विद सच ए टावरिंग पर्सनैलिटी, हाउ विल वी डू दैट, बट सर हमें जस्ट ऐसा फील हुआ कि हम घर के किसी मेंबर के साथ पिछले 1 घंटे से बात कर रहे हैं। तो दैट इज द ट्रू ट्रेट ऑफ ए सर डोगरा। Sir, thank you for reminding us that from the classrooms to Jammu, to the corridors of global diplomacy, integrity remains the highest office. Sir, माता वैष्णो देवी और बावे वाली माता जो प्रिजाइडिंग डाइटी हैं जम्मू की, मैं उनसे प्रार्थना करना चाहता हूं कि आपको वो हमेशा अपना आशीर्वाद देती रहें। आपने जो भी लाइफ में, एक तो आपको अच्छी हेल्थ मिले, लाइफ में जो भी आपके अनफिनिश्ड गोल्स हैं, मिशन है, वो आप जल्दी से जल्दी अचीव करें। और एक प्रार्थना मैं और कहूंगा कि जो सर्विसेज आप सर ईटानगर में दे रहे हैं, वही सर्विसेज हमारी सरकार जम्मू में आपके एक्सपीरियंस को यूटिलाइज करे और हम आपको ऑनलाइन के बजाय ऑफलाइन असेस करना हमारे लिए इजी रहे। तो सर, आपका पूरी टीम की ओर से फिर से बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय जम्मू सर।
Thank you very I'm really grateful you gave me this opportunity. I feel very, very happy and humbled. You've been very kind and very, very extremely decent, I will say, in your remarks. I don't know whether I deserve those beautiful words or not, but God has been kind. You've also been very kind. Thank you very, very much. I enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir.